Hi, my name is Paul Kozyra, Angling Ambassador for Cadence Fishing UK. You're joining me here today at Lake Semerwater in North Yorkshire. It's wild, it's windy, but it is full of bream. And I'm going to give you some tips that's going to help you catch bream in waters like this. For a big water like we're fishing today, Semerwater, you're looking at a couple of rods here, Cadence feeder rods. You've got the CR10 13-foot feeder 3. That is the most powerful in the range, and that is capable of punching 70-80 yards against the wind we've got today, which is what I've been doing. You may have to go up to 80-gram feeders to do that, but it will get you there, and it will catch you them fish that's out of that range, because that's a range at Semerwater that we sometimes have to go to find them. Now, to enable me to get out that distance, we've set off today when the wind was quite mild. We've set off with the 60-gram feeder. Now the rod, loaded with braid and with an 8-pound shock leader, will punch that out 70 yards, absolutely no problem whatsoever. But we found today the wind has got up, got pretty strong, as you'll see in some of the footage that we've shot today, where I couldn't quite hit that mark. And that's no fault of the rod, no fault of the line, it's just the fact that wind's strong. So we've gone up to an 80-gram, and that has done the business. Now this rod, the number 3, which is the most powerful in the range, has absolutely no problem with punching that feeder out. And the plus side to it, when you do hook that bream, it's got quite a soft tippy action to it, which progressively gets stronger down to the butt. So winding them fishing against the wind, against the chop, and with braid has not been a problem today. We've not bumped a fish at all. So I've got to say, the rod is really up to the business. Here we've got a CR10 13-foot number 2 rod, slightly softer, and it's for fishing distances really 30 to 50 yards I've found today. And we're using a different feeder with that one. Been using one of these cage feeders, just loaded at the bottom, still always loaded at the bottom, which makes it easy to cast against the wind. But we've got away with throwing a 30-gram feeder 45 yards today with that. It is a softer rod, and it's more attuned to with what we call skimmer fishing, fish with the softer mouths. I'm using a 1-ounce tip today before the wind got up, and I found that hooking the small skimmers that we were and the odd roach, same as the number 3 rod, the playing action, absolutely brilliant. I've wound these fish in, not having to pump them, I've just wound them in normally, and I've not bumped a fish at all. Really happy with the way these work, and I'm so impressed with them. Right, we've talked about the rod, now we're going to have a look at the business end. My setup for today, and for big waters like this, as you can see, is an 8-pound shocker onto braid. And then we have a float stop, or ledger stop if you want to call it. So the feeder runs in between that and a bead which stops against the knot, you can see there. I'm using today these bullet feeders, or rocket feeders as some people call them, which is attached by that swivel and that loop. Below that I've got a twizzled length of line which takes me to a quick change swivel, and the reasoning behind that is to kick my hook length away from the feeder on the cast and stop it tangling. Attached to that quick chain swivel, we've got a hook length pretty much of what you want. Today I'm using 0.14 to a B560 14 hook with a length of 18 inches. And to me, that is the perfect rig. CR10 feeder rods, the full range comes with 3 separate carbon tips of different strengths. The rod I'm using today, the CR10 number 3, the most powerful, has a 2 ounce, a 3 ounce and a 4 ounce tip. Today I've been using 2 ounce, which I find is strong enough for the conditions we've got. We can go up to 3 and even 4 ounce on a still water to counteract the undertow which you get on some of these fast waters, especially the shallow ones. And of course, the 3 and 4 ounce come into their own on the river. When we use a tip and when we set it, we set the tip just slightly, a slight bend from the rod, just to give us that indication. If we're using the heavier of the tips, we can fish for what we call drop back bites, which again has the effect on the river as well, and that means we tighten up to quite a heavy feeder, which is what we use for throwing these long distances anyway. And when the fish picks up, it dislodges the feeder and we get drop back. The line goes slack, we strike, and you've got a fish on. Right, although bream can be pretty straightforward to catch at times, they can be a bit finicky and a bit picky. So I'll take you through my bait selection for today. I have got floating maggots, always good for the hook. I've got dead maggots, I've got casters, and every bream angler worth his salt has some of these lovely worms. I've got compost worms and red worms in here, perfect for the hook. We chop some dendrobinas up, mixed with casters, which are there. Now I'm going to load my feeder up, put a bait on, and you'll see how it's done. Scoop of ground bait in the feeder. I'm going to put some worms, some maggots should I say, a bit of chopped worm, and in my ground bait you'll probably see there's the odd piece of sweet corn. Now I've just had a bream on the sweet corn, so I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have another go at that. Bit of the sweet corn out. I tend to hook mine through the bottom, out through the side, then into my little red worm bucket. I tip it off there. What bream, honestly, cannot eat that. Right, as soon as I've got that loaded up, I'm going to get on my box, going to give it a chuck, we're going to catch you a bream. Right, let me take you through the casting process. We wind up the feeder, leaving a couple of feet, maybe 3 feet from the tip. Always check that the line's running through, just give it a little pull like that. And in one motion, bring it behind your head, got my left hand at the bottom of the butt, and we punch through to that far bank marker, hit the tip perfect, sink the line, and now we're going to sit back and wait for that bream bite, which shouldn't take too long, I hope. And there you go, a typical Semerwater bream.